Hello, fellow mysticists. This is the Witch of Minos, and today we are doing a special double reading for the Empress and the Emperor card. I will wear a glove, you can see it, because the heating is off, so I know it's off, but it's recording here. So maybe it will be a thing, I don't know. So today we are looking at the Empress and the Emperor card together. So let's start with the Empress. We are starting with this beautiful card here. So if the High Priestess is the divine feminine, then the Empress is her earthly counterpart. Often this connection shows with the High Priestess motifs appearing on the Empress's cloak, but first we are starting with the Visconti-Sforza tarot deck, and we will check this. This is Bianca Maria Visconti. It's apparent that it is her firstly because she was one of the benefactor of this deck, and you can see the triple ring of the Viscontis here. This picture of her is where we often interpret the Empress and the Emperor together as a power couple, but it can be, but in real life never it's never occurred that a king and a queen rule together. So it's either a queen or there's a king. It doesn't appear together at all. So she, even though they are married, by the way, they were married in real life. So if we see that she is wearing her family's symbols on her dress, but they don't appear necessarily. She's not sharing most of the symbols of her family with her husband. So yes, you can see the traditional ruler symbols, the scepter, the crown, the shield with her family's symbol on it. But there's nothing more to it because back then this was just a playing deck. Okay, and let's check the Emperor. So you can see the same symbols, but they are not sharing. So they are individually on these cards together. So this is Francesco Sforza, by the way, in his, well, I don't know, he's very old, but when this card was created, he was maybe in his 40s. I don't know, I think he was in his 40s, so this would mean that he will rule for a very long time and he will be this very traditional and good ruler over his domain. And you can see that he is wearing the Sforza crown along with the Visconti triple ring. So they are sharing, we can see the connection, but they are not sharing the rules. So it was completely acceptable. So back in the day, there was a mutual relationship in this, but you can see that they are not ruling together. They are from two very famous families and very powerful families. So of course the artist won't make a choice between them. So he was trying to be as, I don't know, as polite as he could be. So this was the original Empress and Emperor. On the Rider-Waite deck, we can see that the Empress is really just a picture of earthly abundance. And you can see that the pomegranates are back here again. So we saw it before. And you can see the connection with this to the High Priestess. So the High Priestess was the divine feminine, the mysterious, the spiritual one. often in a completely other world, and the Empress is just the queen of life. And sometimes we usually connect in astrology this card to earth signs, so mostly Taurus, and there are some readers out there who say that the Empress is a fire energy, has a fire energy, so it's Aries more than any earth sign, and the Emperor is often connected to Aries and fire energies. So we can see this traditional female energy in this card, and you can see the symbols of her royal role, the scepter and the shield, and she protects, she nurtures, she doesn't wage wars. And Wade and the Golden Dawn created today's symbolism with the crown of stars. I don't know if you can see this. This is not a general crown, these are stars symbolizing the months of the year. And you can see all the abundance around her. Oftentimes, this Empress is pregnant, so the pregnancy is just, I don't know, emphasizing the abundance and the creation of this god. So this is all showing us this archetypical good mother, the power and the heart behind the throne. And this card often represents nurturing a business idea, for example. The Empress still balances the female and male energies and traits, although the feminine is in front. So we don't see this completely feminine energy here, because where the High Priestess is mostly feminine and almost purely feminine, but this card is about a ruler. She has to balance the female and male energies. So it's not completely the good mother. I mean, she has power. She has power, and can have a very aggressive and possessive power. So I don't want to go very much into this because, to be honest, I don't really understand genders in general. So for me, there are not really female and male energies. I can make sometimes differences between them, but since I don't really understand what an archetypical mother or father should be like, especially since this from the Victorian era, so well, maybe it will be clearer if we check the Emperor card next to it. So the Emperor is a very straightforward card, and it represents masculine authority in the world. This is the archetypical father, or it's supposed to be, and everything we associate it with, and we means Western culture, particularly Western European culture. So, well, maybe, I don't know. Well, Central and Eastern Europe has a very strong father figure as well, but altogether, when I say we, I I mostly talk about this Western type of thinking. So this is this strict but fair ruler who keeps everything and everyone in line, and who provides for his people, making the abundance of earthly goods possible. So the Empress has everything. She rules above things that she already has, and supposedly he's the one who has to attain this abundance. We don't see it, so you don't see a very nurturing picture. You see that the mountains behind him are bare. He's sitting on a stone throne. So literally, he's ruling nothing. This is just the power, and these cards often show several Martian symbols. The head of the ram, for example, The Emperor is uniting the male energies of fire and earth. We often say this is about Aries and fire energies mainly, but this is also fire and earth, just as the Empress, only in a very different way. But so he's connecting, they are both connecting fire and earth, and this is the key of life, or supposedly this is the key of life. And this card is very masculine in a very traditional way, and it rarely changes with time. It is a person who believes in tradition, hierarchy, the right ways of life, rules, and that power is a birthright. So even though he has nothing in the background, it's his birthright and he has to take his throne. So we can see that the Empress is a very welcoming card altogether. But the Emperor, we might say it toxic masculinity. Well, to be very honest, I don't see this as a positive card. Maybe because I just don't know way to connect to this. But when an emperor shows up, I don't see it as a positive figure. I see someone with authority who will force his will on the questioner, and uh, and someone who has like literally the head of a mule. Yeah, so it's someone who doesn't take no as an answer. While the Empress, I don't see it as toxic femininity or toxic motherhood. She's very chill. Maybe it's because, I don't know, these cards, tarot as a divination technique, was developed back in the Victorian era. And you can sense all the mysticism and all the holistic view of life in this. And you can see the typical gender roles back in the day. But nowadays, things have changed. So we have to give the Empress and the Emperor different meanings. So let's check how more modern cards see these cards. So in the Egyptian deck, you can see the Empress as, I don't know, it's like a Cleopatra like figure. Yeah, I think it would be her, and this is a typical pharaoh on the Emperor card. You don't see many changes except the aesthetics between these cards and the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. Maybe except that the abundance and the lack of it also appear. And this is interesting, really, because before I didn't really see it that way. But now it's apparent. Putting this next to the Empress card, it see that the Empress is ruling over abundance and abundant land, and the Emperor has literally nothing. So her power comes from nurturing life and the results of nurturing life, and the Emperor's power comes from birthright. It comes from a set of rules and a set of hierarchy. So he's ruling over, I don't know, the system altogether, the jurisdictional and hierarchical system of his land. Okay, modern witch tarot. This will be interesting because there are no males in this. So let's see the Empress. Well, no real changes. You can see the abundance here, maybe a bit better than the original deck, but you can see that the Empress here is sitting on a very cushy sofa or something like that. She has crystals all around her, which is her connection to the spiritual, and the crown has changed a little bit because these resemble stars, but in this case it's really just a crown. It's not about the months of the year. While, I don't know if I have mentioned that before, in the original Rider-Waite-Smith deck, the Emperor is holding this Ankh symbol, which is the symbol of life in Egyptian mythology. And you can see that the head of the mules are gone from the throne, but she's wearing it, she's symbolizing, and she completely lives through this energy. So she becomes this new energy. And you can see that there's a land behind her, but the stone is barren, the land is barren, so it's more about tradition and the rules of the power of rules and tradition. Okay, let's see the hash tarot. So the Empress here is very beautiful. I don't know if she is wearing a crow's head or she is a crow altogether and she's just a skin changer or something like that. But you can see the abundance around her. It's much less than in the other cans, and you can see that she is mechanical. She's alive, but she is like a doll coming alive. This is very different, and I don't know how to interpret it right in this moment. Because you can see that she is like a tossed out doll somewhere, and she's collecting feathers to become this raven or crow, and you can see that the bees are helping to tie her together. And in this Empress energy, it's like reclaiming your female powers or becoming the queen that you were supposed to be, but the abundance is not yet here. So it's about reclaiming your power and your place in rulership. While the Emperor is much more abundant than the Empress. You can see the subjects of this Emperor like holding a festival or something like this. You can see the abundant field with much life on this, and the Emperor here is like tying this all together. Just tying this all together. He's rolling over this. He's pulling the strings literally. It doesn't seem like a battle land. It's like this emperor is in his place, and the raven or the crow symbolizing his power, while this raven or crow is just in her becoming. So it's like the roles are changed here. Yeah, it's like they were switching roles, and I think I've said that before, that I see this, that I don't know if the creator was intended this, but I very much see this deck like connected to fairies in the traditional way. So it's more about the fae, where the rules are different, but I think that the roles are switched here. Very interesting. Okay, let's see the Prisma Tarot first. Okay, the Empress here is facing away from you. The crown of stars are here, not 12 exactly, but you can get the meaning. And it's like she is just enjoying the energies around her, these very abundant energies around her. She is looking up. I don't know if you can see it. She's looking up. So it's more about her connection to either the High Priestess or just spirituality in general. But you can see that she is embracing the world around her, and the world is embracing her. You can see the flying energies around her. While you can see that the Emperor is like channeling these powers. You can see these symbols appearing again. So the head of the ram are here, and you can see that it's like this emperor, well, it's dead, maybe dead traditions, or symbolizing very old traditions that have always been here. And it's like channeling these powers of creation and pouring it out into the world. So it's about using your power of ruling into creating the world that you would like to create. And she's just accepting it. So she's not changing the world, she's accepting and nurturing it. So it's more like preserving what already is. And this like is changing the world to what you want to see. And maybe this is what traditional feminine and masculine energies are. So I don't know, female energies are like, you know that there will be tomorrow, so you don't have to rush. You can wait, you have time, you can change things that has to be changed, but it's all about preserving, it's all about accepting life as it is. While male energies is like rushing, never believing that you will have enough time, so you have to do everything ASAP. And and this is about creation. So the Empress here sees the world as already abundant, and the Emperor here sees it like a canvas he can change. I think these were the cards that really emphasize these energies. Okay, let's see. Tarot of the Divine, which is, well, the Empress here, I think it's the Virgin Mary, maybe as, yeah. So it's literally the ultimate mother in Christian culture, and the Emperor here is King Arthur, pulling the sword out of the stone. Yeah, so it's, maybe you can hear drilling. Sorry for that. Some of the neighbors are moving out, and they are just changing some things in the apartment. So the Empress here is the ultimate mother, and there's really nothing else. If you know the background story, well, Mary has sometimes, or well, let me say that she has a more passive role in the whole Bible. So you don't see this. Sometimes this very protective mother comes out, but altogether she's the one who gives birth, and she's the one who lets Jesus into the world, literally later before everything. So let's rephrase it. So it's like this is a very nurturing, very accepting mother, and Mary is accepting everything. So she accepts that she gets pregnant. I would throw some things. I don't care if it's an archangel. If anyone says that, okay, you are pregnant, you are unmarried, but you are pregnant, deal with it. So she just accepts this. And then she gives birth into very undeserving circumstances, and they spend their lives in poverty. So Joseph is working, she is supposedly at home. I don't believe that this would be historically accurate, but let's accept this, that in the story Joseph is working, he's teaching Jesus how to make carpenter gigs. And when Jesus says that, okay, mom, okay, pa, I'm going off to preach in the world, she just accepts this. And she's really accepting and supporting in this. Well, a very earthly mother would say that, oh, no, 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 no. You will take over the family business because when we get old, you have no brothers, no sisters, so you are the only one who could take care of us. But this fairy just accepts this, so it's not really an earthly mother. Maybe this is some depiction of her as a saint, maybe as a saint of mothers on earth, or she might give abundance to mothers, maybe, but I don't see this earthly type of energies around her. She's literally a saint here. And the emperor, well, if you know the story of Arthur, he is the strict ruler of the land, and he's the king everyone dreams about to come back because he was the best. So even though he looks very strict and very unwelcoming, he's just the perfect emperor over the land. Okay, let's check. Let's check Mugi because it's cute and it doesn't really add to the symbolism. You can see that the Empress here is just very cute. It's literally a pillow princess, and the stars are almost. It's 12. It's 12. Okay, you got it right. And the pomegranates became the roses, but it still symbolizes the connection to the previous text. The color scheme is the same. It doesn't really edit. It's like it's a pillow princess. I love it. Okay, and the emperor, well, the lack of abundance is just screaming from here, but he's very chill about it. It's like he's preaching that I'm the king and you will do as I say. I am the ruler. He's very confident. But the symbolism doesn't really add to this. Even the ram heads are really cute and non-threatening. Okay, let's see the animal deck. Okay, the Empress and the Emperor. I think it's very apparent because the Empress here is, I think it's an ibis, which is a symbol of Isis, I think, in Egyptian mythology, and you can see the abundance. You can see as this bird enjoys the sun and just takes the sun's energy in, and this one really enjoys life. Yes, I don't think I see anything different here than the previous cards. And the Emperor, of course, is like a war elephant. Maybe it's not war, but it's an elephant, and you can see the power, you can see the physical and mental power of this card. And in this case, it's not really important that the mountains are just here. He's ruling over the world. The abundance is on his crown. So his abundance is in his power and the power bestowed on him. Yeah. This is a bit different Emperor card, but you can see that the abundance, or you can see that the abundance is or comes from his head, from his ideas of ruling. Lunalapin, because it's really cute. Okay, so the Empress here is just sitting here like Mugi. He's very cute. You can see the symbols remain the same, the abundance is the same, and she just enjoys this. She doesn't sense any danger, really. It's very cute. And the emperor here is very well. Of course, this empress has everything. She has an abundant field she can hide in. She doesn't sense any danger around her, so she can lie down and enjoy her cushy pillows. But this one's angry, and he's well. It might be the strictness, but if you can see, this is the first card that any water appears here. So Well, he is ruling, for sure. He's really marking his territory. There's nothing nurturing here. So yeah, it's like if you don't do as I say, you will just, I don't know, you just throw into the water or put into the mountains. So you see that this is why it's hard to see a traditional father or a supposed father in this, because we are living in 2022 and fathers should play with their children, they should be nurturing, they should balance their female and male energies, and this is why it's very hard maybe. Okay, let's see. I think this is the oak and thorn. Yes, so the Empress here has so little abundance. Maybe her children emphasizing on the pregnancy, or just the abundance of this card. You can see that green is all around. She is rich, she is ruling, she is nurturing, she is accepting. Yes, this is a very good place to be in if you are a subject of this Empress. And the Emperor is just regal. I love this card because you can see the symbolism, but you don't see the toxicity. It's really very pure ruler energy all around him. And well, the stars here are roses, but there are leaves all around this Empress, and the leaves are falling onto the Emperor. So if I see that the Empress is the first in row, it's front of the Emperor. So if I see this, that the Empress's energies are falling dried out into the Emperor. So the Empress is nurturing but is not creating. Life just happens as it happens and she deals with it as best as she can. But the Emperor is literally receiving nothing, and maybe this is how men see the world, that it's nothing without their interference. I don't know, this is very interesting, and please let me know if, especially if you are a male or man, sorry. So I would really like to know about this, but it's like he is receiving the dying kingdom, and he has to rule it over autumn and especially over winter. And there's nothing else he can do than just follow the rules and get through it, conquer winter. Okay, and the final ones in the first part. So in the Anima Mundi deck, the Empress is, I think it's a black dahlia, and the Emperor is a pine tree. And you can see that this is also about abundance. It's also about abundance. It's just a single flower, and you can see all the nurture, all the abundance of earth, all, I don't know, this, it's very welcoming and inviting. While the Emperor is like, it's also alone, but it's more strict, not very welcoming. I mean, you cannot really, you can touch a rose or a dahlia or any type of flower, really, but you cannot really hug a pine tree. So this Emperor has boundaries, and it's strict. It's just overpowering all the other trees. You see that. I don't think that this is a tree, a single tree in a barren land. I think that there's a forest right below this line. It's like the tallest tree in the forest. But this is more peaceful. I mean, it's, this energy is more welcoming. I mean, it's not toxic. It's just as it is. It's more like an introverted energy, but it's not. I don't know if you can get the meaning, because but it's not threatening really. I just wanted to say that. So okay, so this was the first part, and if you have seen the previous videos, you know that there will be the door decks after this. So if you are minor, thank you for being here, and if you are not, let's see what the other cards and decks have for us. Okay, where did I put it? Okay. Okay, so let's see first. Tarot of Sexual Magic. This will be interesting. This is always interesting. So, the Empress here. Well, I've said Pillow Princess before. This one knows her power. It's, I don't know, it's like, it's very seductive. The symbols are sometimes, the pomegranates are here. But you can also see, I can see two. Yes, two snake symbols here. One might be very much alive. So this is, well, it's a dangerous Empress in this case, and you can see that even on this statue, the snake is entrapping the male. So this Empress is not your typical, I don't know, nurturing and motherly girlfriend or lover. This one is very feminine. Even maybe this could be toxic femininity, which would be a first in an Empress card. But I can see this as a very dangerous seduction. So she is seducing you and she will throw you away. I'm sure of it when she is done with you. Okay, let's see what the Emperor has to tell. The Emperor has abundance. At least he, or at last, finally he got everything he wanted. He is ruling. Well, you can see the scepters. This is the female symbol, and this is the male symbol. So they are using their powers of biological gender to seduce and to rule over their partner. The snake is also here, but it's not in a threatening, it's more like a defensive way. Yeah, it's a bit different, but you can see that they are not sharing. They are not very prepared to be in a relationship, I think, that, or I wouldn't say that if this Emperor comes up or this Empress comes up in a reading, I wouldn't say that, okay, this will be your partner, so just prepare yourself. It will be lavishing, it will be very rich and abundant, but they are not sharing their power. Okay, let's see the Decameron, which is always funny. Okay, so you can see the Empress is sitting on her throne. I have nothing to add to this. And the Emperor is like, he has the subject, but his captor is a female. So maybe the female, who is very resembling this captor, she is the one who rules. And I don't know what this fool or jester is doing here, but this is scary. I'm sorry. Okay, so let's interpret this. So the Empress has two symbols. One is the crown, one is this necklace and medallion here, which might be a ram. So she is accepting both female and male energies, and the way she is using this gesture is it's a power game. And the gesture here is a subject. He might be not willing. I can see dread in his eyes, but it's like the abuse of power. And this Empress is abusing her power. It's very interesting that when you come to sexuality and love readings, these cards just become very toxic. Even the most nurturing interpretation is very toxic, but this, it's like the Emperor is scared of. Well, I would be scared in this situation, I'm not gonna lie, but it's like he is not completely in his power. He's like he has to defend what he has because his subjects are trying to take it away from him. He has little spermiums on his globe. It's too much. So he is not using his gesture. It's not about the abuse of power, it's about the abuse of power by everyone else, maybe, or he wanted to abuse it, but his subjects just overpowered him. I don't know, but this is not a powerful emperor card. He's scared. A scared emperor is never a good sign. It's here the jester is scared because he is under the power of the Empress, and this is completely understandable. This I don't see this as consensual, but this is different. This is not a powerful emperor. Okay, and let's see the vampire deck finally. This Empress, well, the abundance is shown in the mansion that she is sitting in. And still there's some nurturing energies around her. And this deck is for shadow readings as well, so it is to embrace your inner queen, or don't shy away from the female energies, either as a mother, not as a subservient mother, but as a very powerful mother, and or I don't know, just don't be afraid to rule as a female. You don't have to be subservient. And the emperor here, it's really interesting that almost all the emperors are very old, and maybe it can come from the original Visconti-Sforza deck, that Francesco Sforza was depicted as an old man, even though he was in his 40s. But this emperor, there's nothing welcoming in him. He's protecting his turf. The abundance is, I think this might be the same mansion. I think the thrones, yes, they are sitting on the exact same throne, but she is a powerful female, and you can see that she is not touching any weapon around her. She has weapons, and she has bent weapons, so I don't think it's hers. I think these are the ones that she has defeated, and she just collects it, or collects them as trophies. And this emperor is literally holding onto his sword. And there are chains on the floor here. So this is about ruling either the coven, or it's just ruling over what he has and protecting it. Okay, so this was it for today. Let's see you at the next video. Thank you for being here. And if you like this video, just please like or subscribe so you have notification when a new video comes up. And let's see you at the next video. Bye.